The following podcast is intended for mature audiences only. The views and opinions expressed within the following podcast belong solely to the individuals expressing them, and it should also be noted that said individuals have absolutely zero credibility, expertise, or even basic knowledge of any of the topics discussed, and any so-called facts and information presented within the following podcast should not be taken seriously by anyone. Listener discretion is advised. All right, and welcome back to another episode of Lost the Plot podcast. I'm Jack Kerrigan.
Kevinagan, back
and
on the
we are
bin.
here again, like he said, for you guys. It's been a minute, though. It has been a little bit of a minute, hasn't it, Kevin?
Indeed.
But we're glad to be back. If y'all listened to the last episode, it was just me writing solo, talking about Harlan Ellison and doing fanfic variants of scenes from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, which was a lot of fun. If you haven't listened to it, please go listen to it. Please go listen to my things, please.
For now.
But this week we got some fun things to discuss. I said this week, like we do this every week. We might, but we still haven't set down a schedule, though. That would be professional.
I mean, yes.
Why would we ever do that?
We're the most professional, unprofessional people ever.
We are the very, very monochrome of professionality. We're also trying something new while we're doing this. We are in the crew Discord server. If you're not a member of the crew, well then you should be a member of the crew. But we're doing a live recording within the Discord servers. So if our community members want to listen in, however, if there are any technical issues or anything like that, please don't hesitate to let us know. But on with the show. So, like we said, this is Lost the Plot podcast, and this week we got a lot of fun things to talk about, featuring, but not limited to, current, future and current projects that are in the works, some of our characters that we have been utilizing and how we use them and how we like to role play, and then just some of our thoughts on things such as music, maybe AI, maybe get into some rants and stuff, but we'll see. And if you've listened to our first and second episode, you'll know that this show will go wherever it wants to go.
Indeed.
But to start it off, if you haven't met me, I'm Jack Kerrigan. I do a lot of voiceover work. You can find some of my stuff on YouTube. I like to dabble in singing. I've got a history in music and stuff, and I like to play video games and shit and be featured in videos such as the ones that have been showcased on this fella's YouTube channel. Now, you've had some exciting developments in your life, right? Because you used to edit a bunch of gaming videos and put them up, but you went on hiatus for a little while because of technical limitations, right?
Yes, you could say technical limitations, meaning that my PC was a good decade old and couldn't do anything for a good minute. But yes, I'm back on the things, and now I have to relearn everything, because the last time I used a good old software called DaVinci Resolve, recommend it, it's free. Whatever. I mean, the only learning curve is that you have to learn everything.
You have to learn it. That's
but
the
the last time I used that, it was on DaVinci 11. Now they're on 21. So there's a lot more to have to, we gotta,
Well, to put your mind at
keyboard.
ease, you were the one that got me to learn it, and I feel very comfortable with it, even with the upgrades and stuff. I have to change all my keybinds to what works for me, but so if you were able to get me comfortable with it, I'm pretty sure you'll just slide right in. But
I recommend anyone to do it because it's free.
Yeah, exactly. There still are free
I'm not
tools
sponsored.
for creators. Now, you can purchase the DaVinci Resolve because there are features that aren't included in the free version, but everything you need, as especially a beginning creator, you've got more than what you need involved.
The whole
in the free
channel so
suite
far
there.
is me just using the free version.
Same.
So, there's that.
That's what I use. I use DaVinci Resolve, Audacity for my audio stuff, OBS for my streaming stuff, GIMP for my image editing, VLC Media Player for all of my playback stuff, and all of those are freeware, still to this day being shared. Lucky us, because, down with the companies, down with the corporations. But
do the subscriptions.
You've had a recent equipment upgrade that might make it a little more feasible for you to get back to what you enjoy doing, which was recording gaming videos and editing them. And if you guys haven't checked out Kevinagan's YouTube channel, his particular style, in my opinion, is some of the funniest stuff that you're gonna find. It's some of my favorite stuff to listen to watch. Especially with some of the things that you do with like meme references and your subtitle humor and shit like that. It's a lot of fun. He's very naturally talented when it comes to graphics and motion graphics and stuff like that, which is shocking because he never went to like design school. Or anything, right?
Never.
Right? Yeah. So it's
no college shocking. Graduate here.
He just like naturally leaned into it and stuff like that. And like our good friend Ranamore can attest to it. I mean, the guy's a fucking professional, and he gets shocked and impressed by some of the stuff that come out on Kevinagan's channel in the past.
Give y'all credit. I mean, y'all make a good portion of my channel and whatnot. Wouldn't be nearly as entertaining if I wasn't had your antics and
right. Well, I mean, recording a bunch of screaming monkeys throwing poop at each other is also really fun to watch, but it's still, go to Kevinagan's channel, give him some subscriptions, give him some Simpsons. Yeah, give him some Hibsons. No, give him some subscriptions. Go like his videos. Go check it out, and you'll get to see a little bit more of me in the gaming industry there. But there'll be some more coming up. And speaking of more coming up, fun little feature segue in there. We've got a lot of projects that we're working on. One in particular, we're very excited about. However, we still kind of keep it hush hush to ourselves, but not really, because here I am fucking talking about it because god damn it, I can't fucking wait anymore. But so in the last radio show of KORP, those of you that might have tuned into the Monday Madness, you would have heard a clip from the first episode of the radio drama The Chronicles of Ice Falls that was broadcast on the 97.9 FM KUHSLP solar powered community radio station years and years and years ago. Well, Kevinagan and I, we worked very closely together and collaborative in producing this show, and it was a labor of love, and there was a lot of issues that came up with it, but we really loved doing it. And we recorded 2 to 3 episodes, but only one got produced and aired, and we were really sad about that. And
there was a lot of work that went into that episode too,
right? Like, because it was for a community radio station, so we wanted to homebrew, so to speak, all the elements of this radio drama. From, it was written by local talent, it was produced by local talent, it was performed by local talent, and the sound effects, with the exception of some gunshots, were sourced and created locally. Kevinagan and I were the main sound designers on that production, and we spent many nights standing out in rainstorms.
Yeah, all the way from the thunderstorms to the footsteps down the streets and whatnot.
We walked around town during various times of the day, and then we had a little workshop in the basement of our theater where we would gather up those classic Sesame Street style tin gas trash cans.
Just chunking them everywhere.
Right?
Like,
fill them up with 2x4s and fucking stiff arm into them. We'd put on football pads and just run through an obstacle course.
All right.
Right? Just so much pain. But it was so cool because we were both really heavily influenced by various things like Skywalker Sound, and I had done a play where I got to play a Foley artist and play with actual Foley stuff, and I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy, all the stuff you can do. And, we were acting in it as well. We both provided voices and stuff, but the production ultimately didn't go anywhere, which was kind of sad.
Yeah.
My version of events probably isn't the most accurate, and it is through a lens of bitterness, and there were some things that happened that I found.
Mine is extreme bitterness, especially with the project manager.
Yeah, I found some pretty unethical things going on. However, I've learned that my perception of things might not always be 100% accurate, so I'm not going to go and say it as gospel as that what was going on, but my perception of things was pretty not flattering, because we had created this first episode, and the director / writer / creator / project head, he didn't like the first draft, he didn't like the second draft, he didn't like the third draft, he didn't like the fourth draft, he didn't like the fifth draft, he didn't like the sixth draft, he didn't like the seventh draft, and he did not like the eighth draft. We finally settled on the ninth draft, not because he liked it, but because we had no more time.
The biggest thing about that too was like, it would have been maybe a different feeling if he was actually, maybe a part of the project instead of just like listening to it at the very end.
Right.
Like, I don't like this. Like,
or if he had any audio knowledge whatsoever, because he would just say, I don't like the way this sounds. He wouldn't say why.
No.
He would have no way of explaining what was wrong with it. He just knew that it was wrong.
No improvements,
it was
no
bad.
suggestions for anything. Just be like, I don't like this.
Like, and it wasn't even like in good managerial style where you're like, wow, that was really good. I love what you did here. I don't really care much for this, that, but I also really appreciate the work you put in. Never like that.
He really just seemed like the guy that just wanted to tack his name on like maybe a successful project or whatnot and just be like, yeah, I did that even though I didn't do anything.
Right.
Just, yeah.
Well, and the thing that really sucked was we ended up fundraising for this show. We had a live reading at one point in front of some of the art investors of our community, and it was a really nice little wine and cheese kind of evening thing, and me and a bunch of the other actors got together and we read a scene live, and they gave us lots of money. And next thing I know, like I'm recording at this point, we had just finished recording episode 2. We're working on episode 3. We had just done this live reading. We just got all this fucking money. And suddenly we're just not doing it anymore.
Yeah. Because I wonder where all that money went.
Like, and it literally was just like an email to me. Like, oh no, we're not doing it. And we're actually going to just refocus into what we called the Red Door Radio Hour, which I was not a part of. Even though some of my productions were like at one point in, when I was living in that one house that had no gas, I remember, and I just had electric heat, but I was playing, Assassin's Creed, Black Flag, and I really liked one of the shanties. So I decided to record a shanty of my own, but I was doing an experiment with multiple voices. So I did Roll the Old Chariot Along, and I recorded myself 16 times as different characters singing together in harmony and stuff. And of course, Red Door asked if they could use it. I let them use it, and they put it on their radio hour, and stuff like that. So I was like, there you go, whatever. And they just kind of phone it in every week, and compared, it was fine. Like, if that was what the original intention was going to be, it was fine. Like,
well, as I would put it, they were a bunch of basically LARPers in the idea of, like, in the creative scene. They were LARPing as creatives when they really weren't, or they didn't really have a lot of drive into it. They would just be like, well, we're like, we take other people's property and then just, play it during our little hour or whatnot, but not actually make them like their own things, whatnot.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying there, because it definitely, there was not nearly the amount of work that was required for the radio drama to do what they ended up doing, which was basically what I ended up doing with my own radio show, which was, I'm going to show up, get high, play whatever fucking I feel like, talk about whatever I feel like, and say that's part of the format.
Well, I feel like it was just a bunch of mimicry, because they were just watching what other people do and they thought they could probably be more successful at it, which they weren't, but
yeah, it sucked because they were in a really good position as the authority of the underground art performance. Like, when it came to theater and theatrical dramatic performance, they were the authority. I was part of them at the time, and I was on their board and everything, but I got so disgusted by the fact that we took the money for a production that we immediately canceled after taking the money. I quit. I stepped off the board and I said, I'm not part of this anymore. But so to fast forward, though, years and years and years and years and years later, we're waxing poetic about it. We're listening to the recorded, produced episode, and we're talking about, what we enjoyed about it and all that stuff. We're bitching about what went wrong and all that thing. And we were like, man, I want to do that, though. I want to do it again. Let's keep doing it. It's great. Of course, we couldn't use the original material.
No.
We didn't write it. We didn't own it. It wouldn't belong to us. And I wasn't on speaking terms with the guy that does own it. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, it wasn't happening.
Plus, they don't own any of the properties to make a radio show, though.
Exactly.
So there's that.
And, like, the spirit of it wasn't owned. And then, so we started coming up with our own version. And then we expanded on that because we were like, but there's other things about radio drama that we like. Like, because this particular project, the Chronicles of Ice Falls, was a hard-boiled detective film noir drama. Like, it was that kind of thing. And we wanted to do that. Like, we definitely wanted to do a hard-boiled detective noir drama just like it, but we didn't just want to do that. We wanted to not put ourselves in a box. And so we started examining all of our different influences and all the different things that we really enjoyed about, particularly golden age era radio production. This is 20s, 30s, 40s, a little bit of the 50s, very, very tiny bit of the 50s. But things like the Mercury Theater on the Air, The Shadow, Campbell's Soup Players and shit like that, the Twilight Zone even. And so we were like writing down all these influences that we had, and we realized that not only did we want to do a hard-boiled detective kind of drama, we also really liked superhero serials, like classic Batman and The Shadow and stuff. We also really liked psychological and cosmic horror. We loved elements like that. We liked just the basic building blocks of basic pulp anything,
like that involves like a nice little mystery to where it's always up in the air, to where the viewer can figure out what for themselves what's happening instead of spelling everything out for you. Love that. And
right. Sometimes just the ambience of like being in a 1920s club and discussing like corrupt politics and then there was like the Godfather aspect, like love fucking stories like that, like with mafia and the gang, Sopranos, Boondock Saints kind of stuff. And so we're like, and then courtroom dramas. Really enjoy courtroom drama, like Perry fucking Mason, 12 Angry Men. Really enjoy shit like that. Fucking Ace Attorney, Harvey Birdman. But and so we're like, how can we pursue all of these different things that we really enjoy, but also it be the same project? Because I mean, it's easy to get burned out when you're working on one project, you know what I mean? But then you're like working on 20 projects to feed all these different interests and shit. You're just, oh my God, like some people can do it. I'm not at that point.
Basically throwing gasoline on that candle, seeing how quickly it burns out.
Exactly. Like I'm lucky if I can get one fucking thing done, let alone do like 4 or 5 at the same fucking time, because I got ADHD and I can't decide what I'm going to do next. So we were like, well, what if one of our influences was Sin City? And the thing about Sin City is it is a collection of vignettes, kind of akin to Love, Death, and Robots.
It's like a little anthology.
Yeah, anthology, where there are a bunch of stories that have characters that might show up in other stories too, true. But
all in the same setting.
Exactly. The tying thread is Sin City. It's all the stuff that happens in Sin City. And so we had been utilizing the same name for a city in all of our different like group role plays, our Minecraft server, and stories that we had written in our little group and stuff. And so it was Haven. So naturally we called it Haven City. And we haven't quite named the project, because sometimes I'm like Haven City Radio Drama, The Chronicles of Haven City, Haven City Drama. You know what I mean? Like, so the name is still kind of a work in progress. Right. But the idea is a collection of stories where episode 1 and episode 2 might not have the same characters, might not even be in the same format.
True, but they all are a part of the same world. That's
exactly.
The key,
that's the tying thread. The antagonist, the consistent protagonist is the city itself, Haven City. I was explaining it to Kevinagan and Ezra Weird as like we're the kids, us creators, we're the kids. Haven City is the playground, and the characters we've created is the toy box. They're the toys in the toy box. And the stories you make, you go, as long as you play them on the playground, you can play with any toy in the toy box, and you can play any way that you want. And I'm kind of taking the lead on this. However, the way that I'd like this to be is that every episode, or it's not the same director each episode. It's not the same show lead in each episode, kind of like what Star Trek used to do. Star Trek would have, one episode would be directed by Brennan Braga, the other one would be directed by LeVar Burton, and then you'd have one directed by Patrick Stewart, you know what I mean, and all that shit. And that's what I want. I want everybody in our co-op here who is interested to have the opportunity to lead an episode and to have it in the format that they want, and not be limited to any format, as long as it translates well to the audio medium. Yeah. So
you got your setting, you got your cast of characters, you got all your, like you said, toys in the toy box. Now make a story out of it.
Exactly. So we've come up with a whole bunch of really fun characters and locations in the city and organizations, and so like some of them that you could expect to see. Like it all started from the Chronicles of Ice Falls hard-boiled cop detective noir inspiration. So of course we had to have our fucking hard-boiled detective. That's Maxwell Morgan. He's got a drinking fucking problem, but the only problem is he can't find his next fucking drink, and but like he's always having issues with his police chief, Raymond Hargrave, is an embattled police chief trying to keep the force together, be a good cop, but also keep everything from falling apart under the tyrannical control from City Hall, which is run by Mayor Gulliver James and his councilman crony Silas Skaggs. And these fuckers are in the pocket of the Malanotte crime family. And they've got very clear initiatives and directives set to newly named police chief Raymond Hargrave, because his previous successor was found dead in a ditch. And he was a very straight-laced cop, so Hargrave's got to play ball or his entire department's going to get dissolved. And at least if he's, while he's doing fucking shitty stuff by going by these guys' whims and stuff, at least his department is still together and can still do some good. However, Maxwell Morgan, who used to be Raymond Hargrave's partner, might pick up on some of this stuff, and might fucking try to put a stop to it. And Hargrave has to fucking stop him, and you got friend versus friend, but both ultimately trying to fucking protect justice in their own way. And that's just one aspect, because then on the other side of the street, you've got the criminals going crazy in different gangs, like Peaky Blinder style. You've got the Ash Street Kings and the Gray Street Ghosts going all West Side Story with racing empires and betting empires and drug running schemes and stuff. And while
my personal favorite, what is the two Irish brothers, what are they called?
They constantly hire Flynn and Quinn McKeegan,
the Boom Brothers.
I constantly accidentally call them the Boom Brothers. But then like the city is also protected by a vigilante, who is by day philanthropist Gideon Graves, and by night the Ghast. Fucking, you know what I mean? A nice, very clear homage to the Shadow and Batman and such.
So a lot of weird things happen in this city too.
Exactly. There are some new religions that have come around, most particularly this very odd church that seems to have a lot of leaders of the city in attendance to their congregation. And the church is called the Eye of the Endless Dawn. And they preach some really interesting things. But to those that might look closer, such as news reporter Walt Willoughby. No, his name is Will Whitman. Sorry, Walt Willoughby. But like fledgling news reporter Will Whitman might find out some dark secrets, about what's really going on.
Really wishes he probably wouldn't know.
And then, because we've got all of these criminals and heroes and vigilantes and cops and stuff, well, you've got a healthy psychiatric presence in the form of stories told from the point of view of the lead psychiatrist in her field in the town, called Dr. Helena Blackwood. And like her episodes could vary from narrative to actual recordings of conversations with inmates and cops and stuff to draft the narrative together.
Analysis. Everyone in this city is crazy.
Exactly. And then, maybe there's a huge courtroom case, a huge corruption case that's on the line, but the courtroom drama is headed up by the firebrand DA of Haven City, Lucille LaCrosse. You don't cross LaCrosse. You know what I mean? But then you've got crazy characters, like actually crazy characters, like Slow Joe Quincy, who's a homeless war veteran, and his friend Puddles.
Puddles is a fun character.
Puddles, the crazy homeless man who swears he sees visions in his puddles. Does he? Who can say? Sometimes a broken clock's right twice a day. You get enough monkeys in a room typing with typewriters, you're gonna get Shakespeare, kind of thing. Who
Other
knows?
times he might be drowning in his puddles, so
Right? But then you've got shady individuals like Felix Finch, also known as Fingers Finch, who runs an old like antique shop, but is really a front for a money laundering business.
Rubbing little hands and everything.
He's got his fingers into all the pies. But then, the supernatural might also be present, but who knows? Who believes in that kind of stuff? I mean, but you've got incumbent political figures like Mr. Louis Cypher, who some people swear to God is the devil.
Good old Louis.
Who's to say, though? Who's to say? But like all kinds of characters like that. I mean, you've got stories from mortician Victor Lynch. We might have visit to see what goes on in the life of one Stacy Stiletto, who is the owner of the Stiletto Club. She is your classic femme fatale with a twist. She's playing a femme fatale, but she's really a kingpin. Ooh. Oh, yeah, because all the deals in town get made at the Stiletto Club. And she's got a picture of all of that
crime
shit.
in Haven City.
And then, speaking of crime, you might have the Boom Brothers, or you might have serial, mafia crime family hitman and fixer.
Ooh, what's his name?
Mac Shaw the Hacksaw. And speaking of the Malanotte family, there's a particular character, Lorenzo Malanotte, who is the heir incumbent, who is not quite taken over, but is going to soon. So he's making some changes about how things happen in the city, and he's got some interesting deals with Chief Raymond Hargrave while he keeps the mayor under his thumb and Councilman Silas Skaggs running from corrupt scheme to corrupt scheme. And, and things like that. Then we've got other characters like, the feds always get involved. And they send a guy that's Richard Dawes, also known as Richard Dick Swingin' Dawes, old Dick Swinger. Oh, here comes Dick Swinger. Fuck it. I told y'all not to call me that. But he always shows up and he starts swinging his dick around. But then, we got to keep it fucking grounded, and you'll hear stories from like the point of view of Captain Frank Mallory, a very tough as nails beat cop, might be just talking about how he's trying to fucking have some pancakes at a diner after his shift, and some guy comes up and he goes, "Hey, excuse me, there's a guy smoking over there. I don't mean to interrupt your dinner office. There's a guy smoking over there." Fucking ass. Arkham Knight. There's a guy smoking over there. But yeah,
just wanted my pancakes, man.
That is a coming project that Kevinagan and I, as well as our other collaborators, are working very closely with. And if you, listeners, sounds like something that you'd be interested in, we kind of carry the same mindset, the same kind of mission statement as like Star Trek and Star Trek The Next Generation did, that we accept user-submitted scripts and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And while we do keep most of our talent in-house, we are always on the lookout for anybody that wants to throw their hat in as a voice actor or anything like that. So feel free. That.jack.kerrigan at gmail.com is my contact information. Or if you're a member of the crew, you can send me a message on Discord, or you can just contact me through YouTube. Let's see what we can do if that is something that you, the demographic fall into. Blah, 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 blah. But you know what I mean? Like if you fancy yourself a script writer or a voice actor, and this sounds like a project that you'd like to be interested in, you know what I mean? Like feel free, reach out. We might see. Who knows? Who even knows?
Who knows?
But through this kind of process of coming up with stuff, we really get a big kick out of coming up with characters like this. Like
characters are one of the biggest part about that. Like, just making the characters for a story is just one of the biggest thrills that I get out of this thing. And if we want to make a little segue into that one, you want to talk about any of the ones that you've been playing right through?
Well,
here?
actually, yeah, we wanted to talk about characters there because I know the two of us both have not only characters that we write for stories, but also characters that we just play around with for fun. And I've recently got back on World of Warcraft on my role-playing thing like I do once a year about this time. I've gotten some particular characters that I've had a lot of fun with. One is named Silco. I've used him before, and I've used his name and other things, but in World of Warcraft, I've ranted about in the past. See episode 1, loyal viewers. But in it, there are hero classes and stuff. There's stuff in there that doesn't quite make sense in the context of the modern storytelling opposed to the previous storytelling when these characters were introduced. And one of the playable character classes is a demon hunter. And for the long and short of it, they ripped their eyes out, they absorbed demons, and basically became terminally ill so they could be a perfect weapon against demons. Well, guess what? Demons were killed years and years and years ago.
The biggest problem, no more demons. So,
right? They've been gone for years, but you're still here and you're still going. So I was like, what is the point? Like, was my question. And I used that question to create a character. And so I created a character that's basically a terminally ill veteran with PTSD. For like real life kind of comparison, but he's a demon hunter that has no demons to hunt. He does contracts and stuff, but mostly he just goes to the bar and drinks the grossest, heaviest liquor he can find so that he can deal with the side effects of being what he is while he waits for death, because I can't imagine what else they're fucking doing. So that gets boring real fast. Even a character grounded in realism like that shit gets fucking boring.
You have to have others to play off of.
Right. You got to have others to play off of, and you have to give them hooks to play with, if you're in an active role-playing setting, and you got to keep yourself engaged. So what I've been doing with this and other characters is I try to throw in little gags. And for Silco, because I can't really have a lot of, all of my fun writing with him comes in descriptive text, in the form of descriptive text, because the man says all of like 2 fucking words to people. Like, you know what I mean? Because I try to keep him true to the character, and the character's always just grunting or just like
grunts drunkenly.
Right? Like when he says thank you, he says gratitude. And shit like that. He's that kind of fucking guy. So in my descriptive text, I'll try to have fun with it. I'll be like, Silco ponders for a moment, and then ... wait for it ... he takes a drink, and shit like that. And then I'll describe the liquor that he's drinking. And because he's in the situation that he's in, because he's terminal, and because he's been doing it for so long, like any alcoholic or any addict, what worked yesterday might not really work today. What worked last year definitely doesn't work this year. And, the drink that you were imbibing in previously, you can't just imbibe in that and have the same result. You need more of it, or more strong, and stuff like that. So he's at this point where I will describe the liquor. And I will have a blast describing this disgusting concoction that he's drinking today, to the point that now he has
motor oil.
Yeah, well, and I always describe it as stinking, like thick, viscous, and stinking.
Imagine the cup is bubbling too. It's like, oh,
right?
There's a chemical reaction going on.
It might be
right
like feces or something. Who God even fucking knows? But like, so now these other characters that have interacted with him, he's had a bath forced on him. He's gotten dragged to a spa and stuff. And they, like in Warcraft, their terminology in their Elvish language is Illidari, is what the demon hunters are called, Illidari. And they call him the Stinkdari because he fucking smells like shit, and he never takes a bath, and he's always wearing homeless clothes, and he's drinking the stinkiest, nastiest liquor, and he's got blood in his hair because he's killing things, and he doesn't clean himself.
It's just a fog of flies,
right?
Flying
He's
around
just
him the entire
gross.
time.
And that hook of just him is gross. You know what I mean? Like, Silco is gross. Has opened things up to a lot of play, like, I'm sure you've got characters that you incorporate stuff like this for. Do you have any examples of, like, maybe an element or a feature of a character of yours that you would utilize to give people hooks to play off of?
Well, I don't really have any fun little like character like traits or whatnot for most things. It's usually like either like a backstory or something that goes through it. Like best way I could use for like 2 characters is you've got Victor and Corbin, Victor Crozian and Corbin Crozian or whatever. So you've got Victor, who's kind of like an occultist type of deal. He's like, standard little rich kid or whatnot, but instead of going like, the billionaire philanthropist type of way, he really gets deep into the occult because he can't use any magic, not by himself anyway. So he has to go into the occultist thing to where he finds a fun little tome, a tome of forbidden knowledge that basically gives him like all of the power that he needs, but not like in the sense that he gets power. You're basically using it as a conduit. But his brother on the other end is like on the opposite end of the spectrum. He is what would be the closest thing to a paladin because he abhors everything that his brother is doing, and he tries to like stop like all of his like horrible like evil machinations that he's doing. Because
is he a paladin as a result of what his brother's doing?
Basically, yes. It is a result of that. But unfortunately, during one of the escapades, whoopsie,
that was me. Sorry, continue.
But during one of the escapades, is Corbin dies from a horrible accident that Victor causes. Now, while Victor is an asshole, he still loves his brother to the point to where he mistakenly tries to resurrect him, and that goes horribly wrong and turns Corbin into what would World of Warcraft's version would be a Death Knight.
Oh goodness,
but
an undead abomination.
Undead abomination that is hell-bent on revenge of some sort. So in real life folklore, that would be in the Irish take of what a revenant would be, is that it's an undead that is hell-bent on revenge, and that goes off that will go after anyone in his way.
You said a revenant?
Yes, a revenant.
Oh.
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that should be in Irish folklore, and that's where that comes from. But in a revenant's whole deal is that whoever wronged him in life, they go after in death, but they will also basically kill anyone that's in their way too, so you're supposed to get out of the way. And that's Corbin's whole deal, is that he's this undead abomination that wants to kill everything in his path to Victor, but he also is struggling because in life he was a good person, so there'll be certain times to where he will not do that, but it's an extreme struggle to where, let's say for an example, if he's about to kill just someone in his way, he might bring down a sword but stop halfway, but it's a slow encroaching thing because he's slowly trying to fight against this thing, but he can't because he is undead and his whole deal is just revenge and whatnot. So it's those little character bits to where I would do and whatnot.
But, that's really interesting because when you were telling me about him, you said he's a redemption seeking kind of guy,
but it's also in that regard he does seek redemption. So in those small moments where he actually has a hold of his faculties and his mental state, he does try to seek it, but also being a revenant, an undead, that
you don't have much of a choice.
Yeah, because he is cursed. That goes back to the Victor aspect of reviving him wrong, to where it's there's always, I always like the idea of cause and effect, to where there's no, you can't just do anything without a consequence.
Yeah.
And that is one where it might have been good intentions to bring back your brother, but your brother's brought back wrong. And that's the whole deal.
So back together wrong.
So back together wrong.
But I really like that dichotomy of character there, because you can utilize whatever scenario you find yourself in a role play aspect. You can utilize one side or another of that character, of a darker bit of is his revenant motivations and stuff, but then you can at the same time do righteous things under the motivations of his actual in control soul, kind of, so to speak.
It's always the fight I guess you could say it's the fight within and whatnot, constantly fighting against what he is right there. So it's his evil nature trying to be good, because what is that one little quote from Skyrim of all things or whatever? Is it better to be born good or to strive against your own evil to overcome it or whatnot? I'm paraphrasing because I don't know the actual one, but it's that one. It's from Parthenax, that one dragon, and from Skyrim of all things. But yeah.
Is it better to be born good or to know that you're bad and to strive to be better? That's a good one. And I mean, because I would have a lot of fun role playing with a character like that. However, when I was playing Silco, I wanted to make other characters and shit like that, but World of Warcraft's fantasy, class fantasies kind of all come from trauma. The Revenant is traumatically raised and all this shit. And there's always the conflict and all this stuff. And I was I want to make a character that's not, you know what I mean? But also is interesting though, and is realistic to the area, to the setting and stuff. Doesn't seem out of place, but isn't a brooding 2-word saying, grunting, sad trauma boy.
You have too many of that, then who's the edgiest of all the edgelords here?
God, right? And it's it doesn't even matter what character I'm playing. I'm writing the same fucking shit. But so I created a character because I wanted something kind of fun and unhinged. So I created an undead because that's a race in World of Warcraft of raised people that were dead and now they're not dead, but they're still corpses, but they're alive. And he is a natural philosopher, which means he's a mad scientist. And his name is Dr. Rosencrantz Aloysius Maximinci III.
Say that name 5 times fast.
Right? Rosencrantz, named for the character in Hamlet. Aloysius, named for the German saint. and then Maximinci was a random generated fucking name, because when we were playing one night when we were both drinking and we are just making characters, and I was like, I'll just use a random name. Maximinci came up and I was like, what a fucking name.
Yeah.
Maximinci. Like, it just bounces. It's weird, but it's also cool. And so I brought it back. But so, you know, his thing is like, he's an unhinged, like, ooh, yes, how very cool. The experiment log 5676. The cheese infusion is going well. However, the subject has shown signs of expiration within the last 2 hours. However, a cheese aged in a corpse is a cheese aged wonderfully, I always say. You know, that kind of fucking shit.
Very unhinged because he has a rotted brain.
Right? Exactly. And his brain is like, body's falling apart, and he'll literally reach into his chest cavity as a storage purse, you know, or some shit. But like a hook that I threw on there for people to interact with, that at first was just kind of a joke that just popped in my head while I was doing it, because I gave him a pet, and it was a pet roach, and I named it Franklin. I got a pet cockroach because it was the most thematically appropriate pet that I had in my inventory, you know, and then I named it because my roleplay add-on let me do it. And while I was roleplaying with some friends, I was like, how would he know that this roach is Franklin, but that roach isn't? Like, because can you look at two roaches? Like, you can be the most charming fucking roach in the world, but it's still just skittering the fuck around. And so I was like, let's have some fun with this. And also I had thought about The Witcher 3 with a character named Roach. And those of you that know where I'm going. And well, so I was like, let's have some fun. And so while he was talking to the other role players I was playing with, I had him just step on Franklin and squish him dead. And not notice. Franklin. He didn't even notice. He's just in mid-conversation. Franklin squished and is obviously clearly gooey and dead. But like, and he's talking, and then another cockroach just like crawls out down his leg, you know, from some unknown spot in his rotting corpse, because he's a rotting fucking corpse. There's cockroaches everywhere. And he looks down and he goes, oh, Franklin, there you are. You know what I mean? And he just starts carrying on. And then like he sits down, he's talking to the other role players, and he squishes Franklin dead. And a cockroach crawls out of his eye, and he goes, what are you doing in there, Franklin? You know what I mean? And so like, it's just every roach is Franklin. But you know, Franklin is so like, and doing that, I ended up, I was just interacting with one person, and by the end of it, I was interacting with 6 other players, because just that one hook of the roach gave them something to talk about, and to interact with. And then like through that, then we would have conversations and stuff. And so I found that because for a lot of people, role-playing's hard.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it is for me, that's for sure.
And a lot of it is because, you know, we just don't even know what to do. Some folks put a lot of themselves in it, and I do that too. I process a lot of my stuff with my characters and shit like that. But they don't really know how to interact with other people. And a lot of folks just default into copying a character that they've seen somewhere. And then they get bored, or they hit a wall, or they never play the character again because they've done it as far as it's going to go. You know what I mean? Because of the limitations that have been established before the character's even been born in scenario there. But I find that you create the character, then just find some kind of device, something fun to play with, whether it's disgusting booze you can describe that makes you stink in a certain way that everyone can smell, or it's a fucking cockroach pet that you kill every 2 seconds. You know what I mean? Just like, something fun. Like I had one guy that was like, it was a character generator thing, and I was like pressing random and letting them come up. One of the characters that came up was a Catholic priest who cannot stop swearing or smoking. And like, I had a lot of fun with that.
The sinful priest.
Right? Like he was a full-on fucking priest, but he was compulsively swearing and smoking. Just like, so having that, I ran with it. Like, you know, and I could have a lot of fun with it. It's like, you know, like, God be with you, you cunt. You know, sorry, but like, you know, shit like that. But it's like, Father, I'm like, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. They're in the confessional booth. Like, Father, is something on fire? Are you smoking in there? It's like, shut the fuck up. It's fucking good shit. You want some? It's Baja. It's a Baja Blast.
You're hearing me to tell me your sins, not mine.
But see, like, even there, you had something to roll with just from that little bit. So, like, listeners, if you are interested in role playing, or you're coming up with characters and you're like, I don't know what to fucking do with them. Yes, you can find inspiration from pre-existing characters. You can find inspiration from your own life. But if you really want to find stuff that interacts with other writers, other players, other people's characters have some devices, toys, games, shit to play with. It's fun, and it is so rewarding and satisfying, in my opinion. I get the biggest fucking kick out of it. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing with my latest characters. Like I have another one who I don't play too terribly much, but he's a goblin. I wanted a priest, and I couldn't think of a priest that wasn't just boring and cliche, but I had just got done watching The Righteous Gemstones on HBO. The Righteous Gemstones is a show about a mega church family of like really big celebrity preacher people. It's got what's his name? Fucking Eastbound and Down. Danny McBride is the lead character. Fucking Danny McBride, and he's amazing in it. But Walter Goggin is in it, our boy, and he plays a character called Baby Billy, and he was like real famous as a kid in the churches and stuff, and he would sing, and now he's like old, but he's used to celebrity, so he's like constantly scamming folks, but he still believes he's like the chosen one from God, and he's like, here's my bathwater, buy the bathwater, come on down, I will fucking cure you of your sins, you send me the prayer seed of $40, please, like that kind of thing. And so I was like, goblins in World of Warcraft are very transactional, to the point that the class for shaman who interacts with the elements, they say, well, goblins actually, all these other species have ancestral roots and connections with the elements. Goblins made a deal. They have a contract. They've got them under contract. So I was like, all right, okay, a goblin priest would probably be more akin to a televangelist. You know what I mean? One of these American church pastors is like, if you bring me your $40 prayer seed, your wildest dreams. So I was like, boom.
Blessings upon you.
And thus, Reverend R.A. Goodlove was born. And I named Goodlove after Goodlove, right? Yeah, after a character from Boondocks. He was Rilo Goodlove, the preacher that was played by CeeLo Green. He'd always show up to do the fucking fake Al Sharpton stuff to make money. So I played him like Walter Goggins' character. And the device that I would utilize he would go out in front of the tavern and he would start a sermon. And by start a sermon, I mean he would say 2 inspirational things, 1 accusational thing about how everyone's a sinner, and then he would pull out the box. The box. And I would describe the box, and he would talk about the box, and then I would start creating parables about what the money in the box could do for you. And he would just talk about money in the box, and it's just the box. It'd always come back to the box, and that always attracted at least 1 or 2 other players, and I would have an interaction every fucking time because they had a hook. They had something to work with that.
So what's in the box?
Right, exactly. That was immediately relatable, and was had infinite potential. Like they could be a character that bought into it and wanted to donate money. They could have a character that was a skeptic, and they're like, are you really for real? Do you really believe the crap that you're preaching here? Why should I give you money? They could have somebody that flat out thinks this is stupid and becomes antagonistic. They could have somebody that's a thief and tries to steal
the box.
You know what I mean? Like you could go anywhere, but like you've given the other players, the other role players, something to play with. Mm-hmm. And I find that especially in like D&D, when you're in a tabletop setting and you're role playing with your friends, the most that we do is sometimes we'll change our voice a little bit, but we just kind of, yes. And like the next thing that the DM says we should do, we're probably going to do because we want the game to move along.
True. Yeah.
But then you've got like people on YouTube like Legends of Aventus, or is that what they're called?
Avantris, yeah.
Avantris. And like you watch their shorts, some of their gags are so goofy because they will start with a small hook, and all of their players, because they're all like professional improvisational performers and stuff, like they all know how to run with this kind of crap and turn it into this whole thing. Like, for instance, there was that one gag where the DM made the guy playing Chuckles the Clown turn into that one species that can only repeat what he hears.
What is it, the Cowcoos or whatever?
Yeah, I don't even fucking remember. D&D nerds, I'm sorry. You guys know what it's called. Tell us. He not only can he only say the words that he hears, it has to be in the voice and the like
The other
he's
one, God,
literally
it's
playing it back.
Such a like gymnastics thing right there, just trying to remember all that.
And him just repeating people became so fucking funny. Like, and because he just dove right into it. And then you'd have one where like, and they'd make a joke about it. They say like it's their recession indicator on their YouTube channel. It's like whenever we pull out chuckles, that's how you know the algorithm's bad.
Algorithms down.
But so she was like, you hear the voice of a ghost clown. Will you bring out Chuckles real quick? You know what I mean? And so he'll have Chuckles talk to this player. And
Gideon's
the other
having a
players,
one-sided conversation and none of us can hear it.
Exactly. And they all like, and it just keeps going. It's because they'll see these hooks and they grab on and they go. And anyone can do this.
Well, and also one thing I would also have to point out is that in roleplay, you really have to get rid of the idea that you are the main character.
Oh my God.
Because
right?
a lot of people have that main character syndrome to where that does not work because you have to take a step back if you want to have like things to like play out or whatever. You want things to like, unfold and have fun with things. You have to take a step back and let someone else do their little thing. That's one of my big things. You can't be like, I'm the center of the attention the entire time.
Right.
I'm the most important character. Because when you're in a place where everyone's the most important character, well, then everyone's just an asshole.
You know what? The fucking Legend of the Vox, the Critical Role guys Amazon show.
Yeah.
It started out so shitty because of that.
God, when every one of the like, how many of the characters are there? There's like
9.
10.
Like
and
10
it's
of like, oh my God, I can't keep up
like,
with all
I'm
this
a main character too.
shit.
I'm a main character too. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Whatever. Like, also, are there dragons?
Right?
That's
why I watched this, because Lance fucking Reddick was in it. Like, and I was like, God damn it, I'm gonna get my Lance Reddick. He's fucking dead, damn it. But it's like all of these main characters, all of them with backstories, all of them's important. I can't keep it together, and I don't care.
Okay, a little segue on that one too is like, you could put this into writing sins. When you have a big old conflict to where like there's an overarching threat that's about to like destroy the country or the world or whatever, when you go into a backstory about how your own little family thing while this is going on, it like I don't like it when you have to put like a step back, because I'm like, guys, like I know there's some trauma in your backstory or whatever, there's trauma in your childhood, but the world's about to die. And it's like, so like the world's about to end. Like, can we focus on this?
Right? Like I liked the little gnome guy the best because his thing was horny. The end.
Yeah, it was.
Like,
it was
the end. I've solved the character. And then like Grok, the big dude. Strong.
Very simplistic.
The end. But then you've got the fucking druid girl and the fucking noble kid. And
the noble kid, when they spent an entire season focusing on his thing, was like,
right?
are there dragons?
And then the elf twins with the fucking, that one guy that's like in all the fucking cartoons now. He's like a big voice actor. I can't even remember his fucking name. Liam O'Brien.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so fucking boring. I don't care. Because your stakes don't mean anything except to you. Like, they only mean anything
only to
you. And that's why what you were saying about being a nobody is way better. People, because people don't want to come in on the middle of your fucking story.
No. Yeah.
They want to come in at the beginning and ride along with you. That's why these, like when you have Mary Sue's, first of all, Mary Sue's ruin everything. But like when you have things like, I've got to deal with my past now, and my past is very painful. Let me tell you about my very painful past is boring.
Well, and also like if it doesn't happen organically, like I don't like it when they have to take a side trail to do it. Like you don't need to do a side trail. You can like come to terms with your own past while something's happening, but only if that like past flares up. Like if you have someone that like comes and wrongs you in the past or whatever, but you're focused on something else, if they turn up while you're doing that,
right,
then you can resolve it because there's going to be some catharsis or whatever, because then you can be like, oh, this has happened, we're not going to take like a side trap and be like, hey, I know we have to do this over here in A, but we're going to go over to B. Like, I don't like that.
Yeah, what you were saying kind of sounded like it's something universal and easily accessible.
Yes.
Like Silco, for instance, got a traumatic past, but it's literally the backstory for everyone that plays that character. Like it's literally the description of that class.
It would be funny if you walk into a bar and there's like 10 different Silcos.
Exactly. Because there are
thing.
like they're fucking everywhere. And it is funny whenever my character interacts with the others, because he's just like, well, I just suck at life because I can't cope with the shit that y'all are just fucking being magic emo princes about, you know what I mean? But like, so like, when the other characters find out about the traumatic past story, the players are like, they already know, but the characters can react, in different ways and stuff. But the players aren't discovering it along with the characters, because the players already know, because it's basic, because it's not the important part.
And also with the traumatic backstory, like now, not all the time, because some of them are actually like, if you actually like the character, then you find out about it. Then like, there's some of that. But I'll give this to what was it, Guardians of the Galaxy, the first movie or whatever. Rocket said it best, the raccoon, because when one of the like Batista dude or whatever his character
Dave
was,
Bautista,
when he goes
Drax.
on like Drax, when he goes on a rampage that almost endangers everybody, right? Rocket goes on a big old thing and goes, "Boo hoo! Everyone's got dead people," and like that's the big thing. And it's like that's one of my big like yes, I understand it's a bad tragic backstory or whatever, but like yes, like in this world, especially in World of Warcraft, when you like bring up that basically
Class
everyone has
fantasies.
that. Everyone has a tragic backstory. You don't get to like do like it doesn't have to be all about you. Like we're all here too.
And that leads into writing sins, because that's a major writing sin of making
Yes.
yourself the main character. While your character is the main character for you, sure, whatever.
Not for everyone else.
No one else, literally no one else alive gives a fuck about your character. You have to make them give a fuck about your character by interacting with their characters,
Making them interesting.
or like, yeah, or writing for the reader and not in a backtracking reciprocal kind, like a going backwards kind of way. You
This is
start at the
my
beginning.
story. If you don't like, don't read.
Don't read. No flaming. But it's true. Like, and so many people I find really want to engage in creative writing and character writing and role play, but they hit this wall and they get really frustrated, and some people get like mad.
Yeah, they do.
when they're not like fucking lauded as the character that they see themselves as, because they see their character as the main character, so everyone should be celebrating this is the main character, hooray, but no one cares. Why does no one care? I hate you all, let's die now. But it's one of the writing sins is, it falls under the whole Mary Sue umbrella of main character syndrome and shit. You want to give them a reason to give a shit, and you can only do that by actually engaging in a story that they're involved in actively, not a story that you're telling to them.
Yeah. And also in that regard too, it goes with the it's why like trials and tribulations are always a part of a character, because in that regard, why no one really cares much for Mary Sue's, and I don't, because everything to a Mary Sue, everything is given to them without any challenge, where like everyone adores them, they get all the powers or whatever. But an actual intriguing character knows that the world doesn't owe you anything. You're not owed anything. You have to like actually go out and do things, like make people like you or whatnot. You can't just walk into a place and everyone just fawns over you and all that.
Right.
fun
And
stuff.
from a reader or an observer's perspective, it's the interesting part is not the fact that you have powers.
No.
The interesting is either what you do with the powers or how you get them, or what you go through to maintain it. That's where it gets interesting.
Yeah, there's a difference between, let's say, we can use Superman for an example.
Yeah,
there's
sure.
there's a difference between Superman just being able to go to a different solar system and just getting all the powers because you're just in a
He
basking
fucking
race.
walks a fine line.
Yeah, he
about
does.
interesting
Now,
in Mary Sue. He does.
He does, but they do it well
Good
for keeping him
writers
as
do it
like
well. Yep.
as he knows that like he's basically a god, whatever, and so he really has to restrain or whatever. But there's a difference between that and then someone that really has to like go through excruciating either like training or like trials or overcomes some sort of like excruciating obstacle just to even get to that
comes
point.
with a cost.
Yes, that's one of my big old things. I love that cause and effect, or like there's like you don't get like a power up without like a like you said, a cost. There's a word for it. Like I'm forgetting right now, but there's always a consequence.
The trade-off.
Yeah, there's a trade-off to everything, and that's what I always like. And now, me personally, for like stories in that same vein, is that I believe that if you do have a character that is all powerful or whatnot, they have to die at the very end of the story. Because
if they're the chosen
if
one,
you are the chosen one, you are chosen to die. That's
I
the
love
thing.
that. I will watch a chosen one's story to death. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
like it's either that or you have it to where even if you could go with the chosen one aspect, but then make it to where you still fail. But in that regard, like, you're only chosen because you have a lot of people backing you up.
Right, or the chosen one refuses the call to adventure.
Yeah.
Like, you're the chosen one and you have nothing, you do not want anything to do with it, and you refuse to engage. But then circumstances arise that force you to engage. That's
all right,
the
motherfucker, you
interesting
now
shit.
have to do it.
But you wake up, the beginning of the story, once upon a time, I'm Frodo Baggins, here's a ring, it must be destroyed. I destroyed the ring. Give me all your monies. Like the end, you know what I mean? That's just wow.
Actually, you know
timeless
what?
Classic.
I feel like replace Frodo with Good Love, and that's the back that is the backstory. There's like, and this is where we go. Give me all your money.
Give us the monies. I don't know why his took us like this. But like, it's just fucking very strange. It's because he's tiny and he must be heard.
So what happened in the beginning? What happened in the beginning? Well, we don't know. He just supposedly saved the world, and now he says, "Give us all your money."
That's why Harry Potter sucks. Yeah, I said it.
You're the chosen one.
I loved Harry Potter when I was a kid because I was a fucking stupid fucking kid. But no, I mean, I enjoyed Harry Potter because of not Harry. I always thought Harry was a piece of shit. I always thought he was a dick. I always thought he was an asshole. I always thought if I knew him in person, I would beat the shit out of him. But I really liked Ron.
Well, Ron was really cool.
I rocked Ron and Fred and George, like, because they have this fucking dirt poor ass family. They got so many fucking kids, more kids than a Catholic school, and yet they're still like, you know, they're there, you know, and their dad's a fucking idiot.
Now, to be fair, Ron was a lot cooler in the books than they made him out in the movies.
God, he was so cool in the books.
Ron was a badass.
Ron was he was BDE. Like, he had that big dick energy before any of us knew what the fuck that was. Like, you know, and then, like, Hermione, she's, like, this fucking really bright person that everyone in the world hates because her parents are fucking lame, you know what I mean? And so, like, you got this whole racist thing, but she's still really cool and tense and somehow can be a good friend and a good kid and a good member of society while also being a badass that, you know, saves time and shit. And then you got Dumbledore, who should have been outed as gay, which they never fucking did. They just suggested it, you know what I mean? But then you got fucking Harry, fucking motherfucking stupid ass, bitch ass fucking Harry Potter with his stupid fucking, I'm the chosen one, he's the chosen one, he's the boy who lived, everyone loves you suck. And, you know, one could say that J.K. Rowling wrote it that way and to kind of demonstrate the stupid nature of the chosen one. But no, she didn't. She didn't. He was the chosen one from the fucking get-go. He's the magic boy that everything sucks, but because he's the magic perfect fucking boy, he gets to be the fucking perfect fucking hero, even though Ron's getting the shit kicked out of him by a fucking chess piece.
Well, hey, to add on to that, I think she does do a little thing to where Neville could have been the chosen one.
Yeah, I like that.
So there's actually a nice little dichotomy to where you have Harry, who's a fucking asshole like the entire time, and then you got Neville, who was on like could have also been in that regard, but then he was just like shit on the entire time.
I was in high school when the books were still coming out, and I was at governor's school when Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince was coming out, and this was when you would get some like leaks and some teasers and stuff on the internet, but the internet was still MySpace and Zanga and like, you know, Blogspot and shit. And so like we knew the title. And one of the biggest theories that people loved was that Neville Longbottom is the Half-Blood Prince. You know what I mean? And that was what the title was going to mean. And Neville was going to come out to be like this big fucking, you know, thing. And when it didn't happen, I was so mad.
The rage.
I went into the fucking Hendrix College cafeteria with the sea of purple and green where everybody at governor's school had bought the fucking book from the college bookstore. And they're all reading it. I had read it because I was just a big of a fucking nerd. But I also was an asshole. And I went in there and I went, guys! And everyone, you know, after making some noise, they stopped and looked at me because I had done some stand-up before. I'd played some jazz. People knew who I was, you know, and stuff like that. So they'd listen, you know, look up, and I go, Snape kills Dumbledore! And then I ran away, and I nearly got killed. Like, I nearly got murdered by these nerds.
There's so many of those things.
And I loved it when YouTube came out and I started seeing like all the recordings of people that were doing that shit. And that one recording where the guy yells it out and the girl goes, no!
Fred Weasley dies on 647.
It was, and I thought it was the most bizarre and stupid thing because, first of all, knowing that he killed Dumbledore doesn't change anything about the impact of the narrative.
No, but it's still
the
one
narrative
of those.
First of all, it's open-ended by the end of the book. Like, there's still so many fucking questions, and they don't even fucking explain it till 2 books fucking later. But the visceral reaction of these people, while meanwhile, I'm reading this book going, Harry's the stupidest fucking character ever. The most interesting thing about this whole fucking book is Ron fucking Weasley. You know what I mean? And but like it was a global craze, and a good example of why bad writing is not necessarily unloved. Like
that's a given with a lot of
as a demographic, human beings don't tend to be like as a rule smart. Especially in big groups and stuff. However, that's not what's important when you're in a role play interacting with other creators' capacity. Now, as a writer, and you're just selling books, you probably can find an audience that loves your Mary Sue fucking bullshit.
Oh, definitely. So.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a reason those fanfic sites fucking, stayed up for as long as they fucking did, because there was traffic. You know what I mean? And there's a reason people made.
The biggest fanfic story that I know of is a series called Twilight.
God, that
just
woman
put
has the
that.
That lady has the mental capacity of a fucking 6-year-old.
I'm about to say, does anyone know what imprinting in that series is? No.
What geese do, and they think you're your mama?
Yeah, but in that one, the newly formed baby that Bella and what's his face have, the werewolf dude imprints on the baby, and the whole deal is that he's about to groom her to be his wife in the future.
Listeners, you can't see my face right now. It just gets progressively more horrifying.
Yeah, there was a dude that tried to defend it, and then it just kept going spiraling down.
Just from the get-go, it's an old guy grooming a kid.
Yeah.
And banging a kid.
Yeah.
And then the kid becomes a furry. It's Twilight. This is the love. This is the fucking great love epic of my generation.
But you don't understand. Bella has the best blood, and so everyone wants her for some reason.
It's just
it's a self-insert story. It's a fanfic that people bought.
It's like when I was coming of age, we had what's her name? I keep saying Anne Rice. I don't know why I say Anne Rice. No, Anne Rand. Anne Rice is the name.
Rice for everything.
Anne Rice is the name, but I kept calling her Anne Rand. Atlas Shrugged. But she had the Lestat Interview with the Vampire. That was the vampire stuff when I entered emo phase. It was Queen of the Damned and Lestat, the vampire Lestat, Tom Cruise, Stuart Townsend, and then fucking Twilight happened.
Sparkly.
And everybody's like, Team Jacob, and I'm like, Shark Boy. Fucking Shark Boy is that hot guy? Like, yeah. And I was like, well, I remember Shark Boy.
I remember Shark Boy.
Fucking hell. So let me get this straight. Kid is at school. Old man wrecks her car. They fuck.
Yep.
Make a baby.
That happens in book 2. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Make baby.
It's always like a back and forth of will they, won't they in the first one.
Well, at least that had that. I guess that could have been its defending factor.
And then Werewolf Man shows up.
And then time for furry time. God damn it. And the worst part is this is the time when people my age were going on record saying that they were wolves.
Oh yeah. Inside you are 2 wolves.
That to this day gets used as a way to devalue people's personal identities when it comes to sexuality or being trans or anything. They always default to what these idiots did when I was in school, saying I identify as a wolf. You know what I mean?
So you mean those are the Therians? Those are the ones that actually believe that they're fictional characters.
And I'm like, if I could erase anything, I wouldn't go back and get rid of Hitler. I wouldn't go save Abraham Lincoln. I would go stop that first fucking idiot fucking kid from getting on camera and saying, "Oh, I'm a bow wow." No. I would have beat him up. And I'm like, you're not a wolf. You're not a wolf.
Fun fact for the time travel thing for maybe another day. There's a reason why, if you could go back and when I say kill Hitler, you really wouldn't want to do that.
No,
because
God,
that would be
Hitler.
Well, there'd be that, but also just a major shift in the timeline. And basically, everyone after that point is dead because nothing no one born after that point, because that's all contingent on during that timeline, people hook up and do all that stuff. So in that regard, after you kill Hitler, things change.
Well, there's
that
actually
means-
multiple theories that would probably all take place at the same time, because there's the first theory that it would create a divergent timeline. Third, another theory where the timeline would change, but ultimately you who went back in time would also change, which therefore would make the back in time not happen, and it would just loop forever. And then 3, black hole destroys all reality.
In my
All 3 of them
version,
would probably happen.
my version, time travel doesn't really work because, let's say, if you go back in time, well, then that's already happened because it's part
Exactly,
of the same
you're
time.
stuck in the loop forever.
It's part of the same timeline, so there is no going back in time. So
You just froze time for everyone forever now. And
Yeah.
we all get to be stuck in that horrible fucking moment where that kid says, I'm identified as a wolf, or some asshole
Also-
says, this is a GIF. I mean, so sorry.
It's a
No, they're
GIF.
smart. They're the smart ones.
It's a GIF.
It's a GIF. It's not a GIF.
It's a GIF.
It's not a GIF. I have exactly why. Thank you for setting this up. Because a GIF, first of all, peanut butter, JIF, you've got a fucking jar of it in your fucking room. We've got another jar of it over here in the pantry.
No, that says GIF. Thank you.
Shut up. But a GIF is a GIF. And I've got one simple argument that cannot be refuted. And I'd be like, because I'm like, yes, sometimes G makes a J sound, like in George, but spell George without the E.
Sorry, my name is GIF.
I hate you. Gorge. And that spells gorge. Gorge. There's no E present, so it's no longer George, and it becomes gorge. And in GIF, there's no E, so it's GIF. It's never GIF. It could never, ever be GIF. I'm losing my fucking mind.
I think it's going to be a good George.
Shut up! Meanwhile, listeners, you can't see, but I've torn out like 4 or 5 patches of my hair. I don't have hair. I tore it all out because I fucking lost my fucking mind here. And he's over here. He knows it. He's doing it on purpose.
The reason why the hair's gone.
He's egging me on with the fucking
But also, just as a small little thing back to the Twilight thing, I don't like their depiction of werewolves when they're just bigger wolves. Like that's the
Right, it's
that is the
dumb.
dumbest thing ever I've seen, because a werewolf is supposed to be a hybrid.
Yeah, like
And
anthropomorphic.
I'm just a bigger dog, then you can have
Just a
sex
big
with me out in
dog.
the wolf.
Oh, that even makes it worse.
I think that's what she was going for, because you realize
There's a big demographic of people that fuck dogs.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
this Lost the Plot podcast, everybody. Enjoy. This is the content you can expect.
We've lost the plot,
My
but
God in heaven, this is
But
what
I
we
mean,
do.
there's a reason
Twilight.
why after you actually learn about how big that demographic is, every time you see someone with a bunch of
God,
dogs,
and we were talking about peanut butter too. Fuck!
hey, leading it back to the gift.
Give us all your money. Please don't cancel me. Jesus Christ.
You can cancel me, I don't care.
But yeah, no, it's there were so many more interesting, already created variants of this mythos that could have been borrowed from, that would have been infinitely better than Big Dog.
He's just a big old
smelly,
doggo.
flea-bitten
Just a big old
fucking
dog.
played by Shark Boy. And I gotta fucking listen to shrieking, hysterical preteens scream in the McDonald's drive-thru because they got the wrong team Happy Meal. Do you remember that?
Where's my team, Edward?
They did. They had Happy Meal packaging. One would say Jacob, the other said Edward, and there would be riots when they gave you the wrong one.
And you see, if we lived in my world, that would have been a good litmus test and been like, all right, see, okay, you got upset about that. Don't worry. We're going to fix that. We're going to give you a little box, and then you're going to go down this road to this nice little building to where you'll never leave.
You're gonna go to this nice farm where you can run and play. With
Don't
all
worry.
the
All
others.
of your, what is, if I think it was Jacobs. Edward was the vampire. So it's like,
Yeah.
all of your Jacobs are over there. Your Jacobs are there.
They're there. They're not gonna eat you. You're not gonna be put down like a rabid Jacob. you son of a
No.
fucking Jacob.
It's old Jacob.
But
We gotta
see, then
put
you
him down.
fast forward, like McDonald's is always the source of horrors because it never got better. Then fucking Rick and Morty comes out and you got some fucking asshole kid going yelling about Szechuan sauce,
Which
puts his
no
head on
one remembered whatsoever until they said that. And then everyone liked to feign the ignorance
all
of
the
being like,
kids
oh yeah.
that like got into that, they weren't alive when Mulan came out. Like it was 1998 when that shit came out. And they don't, but like it became because you've got to be intelligent to understand the intricacies
What's that
of
one
Rick and
joke?
Morty
I think
comedy.
you said it before. Whatever. It's like, I like Rick and Morty. Rick is very smart. That means He makes very funny jokes. That means I'm smart.
That means I'm smart.
Because I laugh at jokes.
I laugh at Ricky. He says, Mr. Poopy Butthole. I was like, that's my big thing. Like, I like Rick and Morty just as much as the next fucking idiot. It's a Dan Harmon thing. Justin Roiland can go fucking screw. I thought the show got better after Justin Roiland left. But when they're talking about how, because I've had people literally say the words to me, you have to have high intelligence to appreciate the comedy of Rick and Morty. I say, Mr. Poopy Butthole. There is a character called Mr. Poopy Butthole. And they're like, it's ironic. I'm like, no, it's not. His name is actually Mr. Poopy Butthole. It's not ironic. It's unironically his name. You don't know what the word ironic means. Like, just, God damn it. It's just, it's maddening talking to these people. But that's the mistake.
You don't talk.
You don't talk to them. You make a podcast where you can talk at them and talk about them, and you never have to listen to them ever. And that's what we're doing. We're living the dream. We actually, Kevinagan and I went to before we did this. We went to a local moonshinery. Is that what the proper nomenclature?
I mean, we're going to call it that
because it's not a brewery.
I mean, technically, it's a distillery.
Distillery. That's what
I'm going to call it a moonshinery because I like it that better.
Fucking amazing.
A moonshinery.
Like, and it sucked because I wanted to have a bad impression of the place because I had really bad encounters with the original owners. I don't even think they're involved with the business
Probably
anymore.
not because they have a couple branches across the state.
But like, so I never went in there and I had beef with them and shit. But then like,
I'm gonna go drink some.
Yeah, we went in there and it was so good. But like we were there, just two white guys sampling moonshine in this fucking
podcast
bar. Yeah, like they're like, I hope you don't have to do anything later. Like, well, we're gonna record a podcast.
The really sad thing is that we look the part too because we have the mustaches.
Yeah. Well, thank God they're not the same fucking style.
We're just
anymore.
not playing the old hipster music, and yes, it's hipster music. I don't care if you call it stomp clap hey because it's fucking hipster music.
And we're dressed homeless not because we're cosplaying, it's because we have no money.
I've got no money, but I'm gonna buy some moonshine.
God, it makes me so mad when I see those rich kids dressed like they're homeless.
They're always LARPing. That's the whole thing.
I've been homeless. You don't want to be this. It's the worst.
I'm so homeless, but I've got all my technology.
I gotta get,
and I can get my DoorDash.
Credibility is the word. You got to get credibility. So before I went on this angry, because I am still very angry.
You could say that we lost the plot.
Yeah, we totally lost the plot. Talking about fucking dog fucking and grooming. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Which led to moonshine.
This is your quality content. By the way, we are recording this live over on the Crew Discord server, and you're going to throw a special shout out to Gordon Ramsay. Thanks for hanging out. If you got anything to add to get us back on the plot, feel free. You'll be immortalized. But we were talking with a very.
We're talking about writing sense.
We had an intentional format. Like we sat down.
We wrote it
down and shit, and we were like, "How long do you think it'll be before we lose the plot?" And we made it a good 50 minutes. Yeah, we're
almost made it an hour.
We didn't quite. Maybe next time. Maybe next time. But so that's the kind of shit you could expect. It gets fucking completely off the fucking rails by the end of it. But so far, we've discussed our plans for a coming project, which is really exciting. We talked about role playing and some writing sense. However, there was another thing on writing sense that you brought up to me.
We want to talk about, a little bit of a non sequitur, but also in the form of like Twilight, because they were talking about vampires and werewolves. There was a show that I watched a while back or whatever. I recommend. It's called Midnight Mass. It's on Netflix. It's by like a couple people that like to do like they like to use the same cast and crew for a lot of different other shows because they've done Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, The Fall of House.
So it's the same studio.
It's the same group of people and whatnot. I recommend it. But one of the writing sense that I have about it is that if you're going to write a story about like a modern like type of deal to where like you're using a modern setting or whatever, you can't use like a creature or whatever that is not a part of pop culture or that is a part of pop culture and pretend that nobody knows about it. And that's the whole thing. Spoilers. Okay, give you 5 seconds before I spoil anything. So you can be like, blah, 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 blah.
Turn it off. Oh no, your world's ending. Oh no, there's no reason to live.
All right, so Midnight Mass, whole bit like really good show, still recommend it. But the whole point of it is that a priest guy goes and finds a vampire that he doesn't call a vampire. and then it infects the entire community or whatever. But no one ever questions this thing because no one ever comes up and straight out says it, even though this thing reveals itself. Like, it shows that it has the big old bat wings or whatever in front of an entire
nobody
congregation.
goes, maybe this is a vampire.
No one ever goes like, oh shit, that's a fucking vampire. Oh, we've been drinking blood? Holy crap. Oh, this is a bloodsucker. Nope, we don't ever talk about that. We never. And that would have been the first thing that I've been like, oh shit, that is a fucking vampire. Like, oh, like that.
But it's like a mystery of what it is.
Yeah, because like, you know, it has a good little setup because it looks like it's a new priest dude that comes back later to be revealed as the younger version of like the priest that used to be there. I forget his name. It's Father something. It'll come to me later.
Father of the Bride.
But the father, he comes back as young. No one recognizes him until like one of them sees him right next to one of a photo of him when he was younger, and they're like, "Oh shit, resemblance is uncanny," or whatever, blah blah blah. But anyways, he comes back and he starts like preaching the gospel or whatever. But during communion, which no one knows about, he starts giving a little bit of that vampire's blood to everybody and starts healing everyone. And one of the main noticeable ones is a girl that was paralyzed from the waist down from getting shot in a hunting accident, quote unquote. And he does a little scene which is like it could have gone either way, to where he gets on top of the stairs and like makes her like come walk to him or whatever, and everyone's like, "Father, don't do that, that's cruel," or whatever.
Mean.
And it's mean, but she does, and they're like, "Oh, it's a miracle!" Like, and so more people come to the church, and he starts giving out more of the blood to everybody else, and everyone else's like ailments start fading away. Like one of the dads like back starts actually healing up to where you can actually do things. Eyesight gets better. But then the town skeptic, which I could go on a full-on field day about this thing, because the one things of what I like about this series is that it treats all of the different viewpoints and theologies with respect, which a lot of different series don't do. Like, they always like villainize one or the other.
Have the punching
and
bag,
this one, like it goes through the viewpoints of like Christianity, being agnostic, whatever that ism is, agnosticism. I can't say it.
I call it the pussy one.
Yeah, it's that one, and then a little bit of Islam. But they treat it all with respect, and they actually have like actually pretty good detailed arguments to each other, to where like, I mean, the show has a lot of talking, so you have to deal with that. But it's that little bit of talking to where they're having a back and forth, to where I actually kind of like it, to where it's not like
less
we get
exposition, more conversation.
Yes, it's not exposition. Yeah, like you said, and that's the biggest thing. And one of the biggest bits about that show, because I'm going on tangents, losing the plot, but saying all the same thing, is that it begins with one of the dudes running over a girl. He's a rich kid that like runs over a chick, and he constantly sees her every time he goes to sleep or whatever. But then he becomes a nihilist and like agnostic or whatever. He doesn't believe in God. He used to be a Christian kid or whatever, and he goes on that. But you could view the series as that, if you want to take the Christian aspect, is that God basically uses this dude to like foil the plan of the vampire dude, because that guy ends up getting turned, but he refuses to like take the blood of anyone else or whatever. But he goes to his one friend that he keeps like having back and forth about like what happens after you die or whatever, and she's like a Christian or whatever, but he's not, but he's a vampire, so he goes in that regard. And he goes over and tells her that like, okay, like they get on a little robot and they go out to the middle of the water. He's like telling her all this stories what of like, I got changed or whatever. It's like, oh, so what do you want me to do about it? It's like, well, I knew this was the only way that I'd be able to show you that any of this is actually real, and he's waiting for sunrise. But but it also correlates back to every one of his dreams, because as the series goes on, he keeps seeing the one girl, but then later on, when he gets closer to when he gets turned, he's in a raft in the middle of the water and doesn't know what that like dream is or whatever, but he constantly sees the girl over and over, and like it's the girl that he runs over. And then it gets to that scene which it's very bittersweet, because when the sun's coming up, he goes ahead and he's sitting in the same spot in the raft, and then he finally sees the girl, but she's now smiling and reaching out a hand and like bringing her over, and then it jumps right back to the Christian girl's perspective and seeing him burn alive right in front of him. It's like, oh god, that's one of those things. But it goes into that to where you could argue that the different themes or whatever, it could be that no, he's just like, telling her about this thing so they don't constantly spread like the vampire thing, because there's a big old thing in going to the title of Midnight Mass, to where since the priest dude can't go out in sunlight anymore because he's a vampire, They don't ever come out and say it. That's the bad thing about this series, the writing scene. They never say anyone's a vampire, even though they obviously are. But anyways, I digress. They do a little like midnight mass thing to where they have it on Easter vigil or whatever, and they go in and they convert a lot of the people. A lot of them have to die because when the blood's in their system,
cult rule.
Yeah, they go with that thing because the blood's in everyone's system that drank all the sacrament like throughout the entirety of the week of like the Easter week or whatever, and then a lot of people die, and then the ones that do die, they raise up back as vampires, and then they just go on a big old feeding frenzy, and they go after the entirety of the island, and they eat each other up or whatever. And I don't want to spoil the end. That's nearing the end of it, so I won't spoil the whole thing because you should watch it. I went on a little bit of a segue, but anyways,
fun.
It's fun. It's one of those things. I recommend it, but it's just. It's a good series, but the whole thing is that, like, no one ever mentions that it's a fucking vampire.
And that kind of broke your
immersion. It does,
immersion.
because if anyone, and I don't care if they're on an island, they all have internet, they all have, like, access to the outside world, they even do that, and I'm just like, none of you, I do not believe that any of you would not know what a vampire is, because it's a part of pop culture.
Well, and
like,
literally every single documented culture has a vampiric myth.
Yeah, and they never once mention it. They never once call it a vampire. They're just like, oh, it's the creature. Oh, its blood is doing this. I'm like, guys, it's a fucking vampire.
Right? We were discussing this earlier because vampirism, from what I understand, a lot of cultures came up with their own vampiric bloodsucker bloodsucker entity kind of myth as a response to explaining disease. You know, like the slow killer that would change people, or like rabies and stuff like that, like the effects of disease on the bodies, trying to explain it through myth. And it always inevitably some kind of vampiric entity would be introduced or incepted. And literally every culture has a vampire of some kind.
That was also another bit that I wanted to throw in like Christianity. Like, now it could be in other things too, but it's specifically because I know this in Christianity.
The devil was a vampire.
Well, in that one too, but in Christianity, blood is very sacred. It has a very sacred symbolism to it or whatnot, and so these people are drinking others' blood and whatnot. So like that's just completely like. It's unholy or whatever. So like I don't understand how the priest could actually do that, because he spews out a bunch of like a lot of like verbiage from like the Bible and like takes different little bits. And yeah, like they try to explain like why he did it and the whole thing, but I do not believe how this priest could be like, oh, that's an angel, even though like the whole thing like
did
just
they
starts...
know that it was literally blood they were drinking?
Yes. Because the vampire, when he first interacts with that thing, it goes after him and starts drinking his blood, and then he feeds him his blood.
Yeah, well, I mean...
No, the congregation didn't know.
The sacrament is Jesus, from what I understand. I'm not a Christian, but it's
Jesus supposed to be his blood.
Sharing his blood with his disciples. So maybe they were thinking they were mirroring the sacrament in a way with another divine entity if they thought it was an angel.
It was just the... there was a zealot in the thing that wasn't the priest.
Like a purist?
Yeah, in the purist. And I'm like, I don't see how you like, even because her name was Beth in the show, and yeah, she's probably, I would say, the most villain of the show or whatever. But even in that regard, because she was supposed to be shown as a zealot that like knew the scripture back and forth or whatever, to where I'm like, how do you not know that this thing is like abhorrent to your own beliefs or whatever? That was the whole bit. That was one of my takeaways, even though that it could have been viewed that she just very powerful.
Well, see, little questions like that can totally take you out of a story. Yeah. Because if we had something similar when I was bitching about that Warcraft trailer in the first episode about the happy-go-lucky little elf.
Yeah, that one.
Apparently there is an in-universe explanation, because apparently elves reach maturity at the same rate as humans, so they can be a 20-year-old elf, and even though they'll live to be like 7 million years old, they're basically an adult at 20. And so that's what it is she was just born after the fucking genocide. But I'm still like...
Don't they still have like the magic hunger though?
Exactly. Well, no, it's all gone apparently, and it's fine, and they're all fine now. But like that question though of being like, why the fuck are you so happy?
Yeah.
You know, like took me completely out of it. And like making a little question of like, why the fuck would you be okay with this? Or why the fuck is no one saying it's a vampire? I guess could immediately take you out of what is otherwise a fun story.
The biggest, I guess, the biggest simplified writing sin is that don't make your readers question the like
gaslighting your
like,
readers from reality.
Yeah, like don't make them question the reality of like what you're trying to like explain or
If
whatever.
you're using
especially-
actual reality as
Yeah.
a set piece.
it's just like don't do that. Like make it work.
Because
like
it's not like it's an alternate reality.
No.
And shit that's
And they
sort
never
of like
specified
ours.
that either.
Yeah, exactly.
they made it planted in this reality. And I'm like, don't do that then, because that doesn't make any sense.
Like, if we got Facebook, we got vampires, for
Yeah.
Christ's sake.
You have to take everything, and that was the thing. They didn't even make it look like it was in like a far like back time, because no, they made it like it was in the 2010s, 2020s, or whatever. They made it that way. So it's like, yeah, we all have this. We all have all the capabilities. You should know what this thing is, especially when this thing is flying over town, and it reveals itself at the very end, and that's where like. I mean, yeah, there's a big old massacre in that thing, but when it does, like, it shows up in the church, unfolds its fucking wings, and they're not angel wings, they are fucking bat wings. You should all know better.
And you see, like, but as we've discussed about audiences nowadays, it's not what they're focused on. They're not getting upset about things like that. We're getting upset over, like, back to Harry Potter. You hear about the new Harry Potter that's coming out?
Okay, now, to be fair, there is a decent criticism, mainly because it changes. Okay, it's because when making Severus
no,
Snape
I think
Black,
it's great.
yeah, but now, like, instead of in the books, because, like, Harry's always causing, like, Snape's up to something, now it's more in a racial point.
Oh my God! No, I have not made. Jesus Christ!
No, okay, no, that's the point
Oh
where I'm
my God.
because in the original book or whatever,
Not at all.
Harry. No, that's the one that I know of though.
Thought.
But no, like because it changes the backstory a little bit because in the original books, Harry's
Oh my
always questioning like
God.
Snape's up to
So
something.
Harry's
Snape's
a fucking racist.
yeah, now the context is that Harry's a racist because Snape is the only.
Because a lot of his assumptions was just because Snape was a little
Yes,
off, like, and
but
so
now it changes the context.
Oh my God! I didn't think of it like that.
And when like Harry's dad goes and bullies Snape.
Oh my
Because-
God! Well, we always knew that Harry was a piece of shit and Harry's dad was a piece of shit. So maybe it just accentuates the piece of shittiness.
I know,
and
but
makes Snape
now it's
even more
changing.
sympathetic.
Yeah, but it does change it up a little bit. Instead of like Harry just being an asshole, now he's a racist. Because-
Like, I like the Harry Potter books if I look at it from the context that Snape is the main character.
I mean, now that'd be fun.
I mean, because he kind of is. By the end of it, J.K. Rowling was like, he's the Half-Blood Prince, I think. You know what I mean? And then the whole tragedy and all that stuff. But he was off screen too much. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
he couldn't have been the main character, which sucked. But there was a reason that Alan Rickman was cast as Snape. And
I would also say you would have
Alan
some that
Rickman
were
is the
like it
best
would be
actor.
very difficult to like one up that one because Alan Rickman really did great.
right? But like then you got people that are just like sending death threats because purely they're like, Severus Snape is supposed to be pale. And I'm like,
well,
I've seen you pale, pallid. That's a descriptive word. It doesn't mean it's not literally your skin is white. I mean, you're unhealthy. You're pallor. You can be any race and have pallor, have pallid skin. But that's not the important part of Snape. The important part of Snape is that you think he's a fucking villain, but he's actually the biggest hero ever. That's the point of Snape. Like, who cares if he's fucking black? If he's fucking trans, if he's a fucking giant oversized werewolf dog fucking a girl. Like,
honestly, I think they should have made Hagrid black.
oh my God, dude. That would have been a terrible idea. That would have been a terrible idea.
He's already
because
big.
Hagrid's borderline retarded and always putting the kids
Yeah,
in
but
danger.
but like in like most people only they don't really read the books. They usually watch the movies or whatever.
That's
and Hagrid
true.
in the movies is cool. Like I mean,
Well,
yeah,
yeah, because he had Robbie Coltrane playing him. Like, Robbie Coltrane's got that real. No, I love.
You're a
Robbie
wizard,
Coltrane's
Harry.
word. You're a Harry
He
wizard. Muppet. That was
What are you
my-
doing here? Get out of my school.
His like physical acting, because like as the films continued, Coltrane had a smaller and smaller part, especially when compared to the first film. But like my favorite little scene of his is in the third one when the hippogriff Buckbeak is going nuts on Draco Malfoy and kicking his ass, and he's trying to get him in there, and he goes like Buckbeak, no Buckbeak. But then he like puffs up his chest, and
Yeah.
goes like Buckbeak, but then immediately backs back down because it's not working. Like, and as the audience, in that you get the entire sense of the loss of control. Like, I mean, you can be saying he's out of control. Oh no, you can show the kid getting
Yeah, but you
gored,
gotta actually
but
show
just
it,
having
yeah.
Coltrane like show his big fucking chest, and have it do nothing, and then have him shrink.
It's like crap.
Split second, fucking show don't tell. Amazing, absolutely
Body language
amazing.
plays a lot in different things and whatnot.
I got in a big fight though with this kid at Governor School that did not believe that Seamus Diggory was written as black.
and I was
Seamus?
no, Dean. Sorry, Seamus was the Scottish kid. Dean. It was one of the Gryffindor kids.
Okay.
But like, cause in the movies he's
Be
black.
fair, I didn't really read the Harry Potter series that much, so
And some people are like, why do they keep putting African Americans in the British movie? And I'm like, there's no African Americans in London. They're in America. Like, it's not, you idiot. Like, they did that in Venture Brothers too. He goes, like, he's got the black vampire hunter, and he's like, I kill Blackulas. So you kill African American vampires? No, I kill Blackulas. There's no African American vampires in London. You know, and it's just like people like will get on these crazy bandwagons that have nothing to do with them. That have like,
well, a lot of it is like you have some people that are trying to virtue signal, but they go it the wrong way.
That's the word, virtue signaling. You know, because like it has nothing to do with you, and you know, just admit that you want to be racist too, but you know it's bad.
Well, and also
like,
a small little bit along the term, like it's kind of like you have the two different sides where like honestly they're both racist because you have the ones that don't care, and then like you know they're openly ones, but then you have the ones that are like really like over trying to correct to where it makes them they're so focused on it to where that makes you racist because you're like, why are you so focused on it so
I live
much?
by the creed of everyone's a little racist, including myself. I start every conversation like, I am a racist. I don't want to be.
No, we
like,
all are because
exactly.
I mean,
raised racist. I live in a racist place. I'm in the stupidest part of the stupidest country. If I tried my hardest, I'd still be inadvertently racist. So like, might as well accept. I mean, not accept it, but like, I'm not going to change. But admit
like,
it. You know.
But like, just in history, I don't believe anyone that says they're not racist because we all are to a certain.
I don't believe
there's different extents to it. Like
right.
I mean, because I mean, like there's always going to be certain groups of people that you don't like.
There's the song in Avenue Q. Yeah. Everyone's a little racist. At one point, they say, he goes, now everyone makes judgments based on race. Now, not big judgments like who to hire or who to buy a newspaper from. No, just little judgments like thinking that Mexican busboys should learn to speak goddamn English. You know, like shit like that.
Yeah.
You know, exactly. Fucking goofy stuff. And but like I get really kind of bent out of shape when people say stuff like, I don't see color. And I'm like, okay, so you're just willfully ignorant because there's a lot to be celebrated about people's heritage.
My luck,
too.
I would get on to someone like that, and then they'd turn out to be blind.
I don't see. No, literally, I don't see color. I'm like a dog. I mean, I can see a little bit of red. Look at this beautiful ruby. Dude, that's an emerald. I like that on Adventure Time. But like, that's in itself saying I don't see color. Like that, I don't even see it. That I find just as discriminatory. Like, because you're just denying the unique heritage of people and denying yourself the opportunity to learn about them and showcasing to everyone around, I have no desire to learn or find out or be educated in any way because I don't see color.
Yeah.
You're all the same anthropomorphic blob to me. When no, I mean I see black, I see white, I see Arabs, I see Latin Americans, I see Mexicans, I see Cubans, I see Scottish people, I see Irish people, I see Welsh
I see people that aren't me and I don't like them.
I see Russians and I'm like, I understand why you do it. But
a little non sequitur. Have anyone tried Russian chocolate? It's terrible.
I thought you were about to say Russian roulette. I really thought you were about to say
No. The
roulette.
Russian chocolate is why they play Russian roulette.
It's good. It's good. It only tastes little like cardboard. Like, fucking God. You live in this fucking frozen, horrible place that the warmest day of the year is like 30 degrees below freezing. And the only thing to do...
Good enough to take off parka.
Right? Like, you're always going to be poor. There's nothing for you. The pollution's insane. The wolves are at the door. So you drink vodka and shoot yourself. I love in
most of, like, not most of their songs, but the ones that I keep hearing or whatever, you always hear them pouring a drink in their song. It's like, just pouring a thing in vodka. There we go.
Fucking Wednesday Adams is joining the chat with talking about London. Say, I see London, I see France. A very classical poem of that. Now, whoever's underpants it is that you're seeing, it depends on whether or not that's a good time or a bad time, and it also depends on if it's depends.
I prefer to a free ball, thank you.
Yeah, not in blue jeans.
No,
I mean,
don't want to get caught in that.
I did that one time. God damn it, that was the worst. Did you watch the movie Christopher Lloyd's remake of My Favorite Martian?
No.
I think that's what it was called. Is where Christopher Lloyd plays a Martian, but he's a person. And he makes friends with a dude. It's one of the old 90s kind of comedy of errors kind of thing. But there was a scene
that they would play in all the trailers, and it was like the selling point. And like the guy and the alien are in a changing room, and the guy's screaming from like being attacked by something, and a woman comes to the door, one of the sales ladies, and she knocks, she's like, is everything okay in there? And Christopher Lloyd answers the door, chewing gum with his mouth open, and he goes, zipper trouble. And the guy's he's like screaming, and she goes, oh, you know, and that was the scene, and they put it in all the trailers. And I was like 7 years old. I'm like, mommy, what's zipper trouble? And then I learned when I freeballed in blue jeans. Because I didn't have any clean underwear. Not because I thought it was cool and I was trying to be sexy. You perverts, I was still in school. Leave me alone. This isn't Twilight. All right?
No giant doggos here.
Like, what if the roles were reversed? Then everybody be like, nice. You know what? Everybody still was like, nice. That's another fucking weird thing. Like, when an older woman...
fucking the dogs? What?
Well, no. I'm sorry. I was going back to the whole grooming thing.
Okay.
Of like how Twilight, it's a ancient old man.
Oh, no, yeah. No, see, it's always that, and I still find it fucking weird.
Like it is weird. Like that reverse
they
fucking
did that in South
stereotype.
Park.
They're like nice. But like that's still a kid getting victimized by an adult.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter if, you know, the dude's got a dick that gets hard regardless of how he feels. He's still a child, and I'm talking about a child's genitals again.
Also, okay,
I'm like a Republican.
Very interesting little bit that I was thinking of. Like, so in Twilight, that dude keeps going back to high school. How many times has he done that?
Is he retarded?
I mean, but how has no one noticed either?
I've said it twice in this show.
How has no one noticed that Edward has been in the same grade for years?
Well, it's because the turnover rate in the teaching career is just horrendous, and it was already starting back then. Like, you're underpaid. You
go through the yearbook photos, and it's just him in the same position.
Right? Like, I mean, they change out teachers every 2 years because everyone's getting stupider, and the teachers are getting paid less and less to the point that they have to beg parents to buy the fucking materials that the school should be providing.
I was like, yeah, that checks out.
I remember that too. Like, I remember when it started, because like when I was, I think 9 years old was when teachers started asking us to contribute to like tissue paper and stuff like that for the class. And I remember Dad getting kind of bent out of shape about it, about the principality of it. That's more money, always more money. But now, like, they literally require parents to pay for all of the crayons, the construction paper, because the teachers have to pay for it from their pocket, and the teachers are getting paid like McDonald's workers.
Yeah, and then I got a good view of that from when I used to be at school with we're just call him Superintendent Anderson. We're just gonna call him that, to where that dude was the biggest fat fuck you could ever see, and he kept spending all that money on liposuction. Then he'd get it back, all that weight back in a couple months, and just do it over and over again. Just do that. And the reason I remember him is because we got snowed in during one of these few times of like the years, and he wasn't even at school. He wasn't even at the spot, and we were there for hours on end, waited for all that snow to pile up, and then he's like, all right, you can all go home.
It's like, why do the administrators
and then,
get
like,
paid
3 buses
so much
crashed.
fucking money when the teachers get nothing?
Like,
Like, administrators do jack shit.
I think that is the just the rule of thumb with all of the major things. Like any like institution that you go into or any corporation, it's always that. Like anyone at the higher up, they don't barely do any. Like,
so teachers, if you're listening right now, Lost the Plot podcast, who says retarded multiple times, third time that time, and talks about dogs having sex with humans, and we talk about everything. You know what I mean? We endorse you, and you should feel very privileged and proud that such a highbrow and distinguished production such as Lost the Plot podcast offers you its wholehearted endorsement. But seriously, you're treated like crap. If you're a teacher, thank God. Please don't quit, but I also understand if you do.
Yeah.
You know, but it's funny, a lot of people are talking about how this new generation can't read and how it's a big fucking deal, and my reaction to that is, can you?
Yeah.
When was the last time you fucking read? Like, you know what I mean? That's like, before you get all panicky and start yelling about how kids have bad third grade reading levels and all this shit, is like, well, what's your current reading level? You know, like, what was the last novel you read? When was the last time you said, I'm going to find a book to read? Like, you know what I mean? And there's exceptions to the rule, sure, but generally the people bitching the loudest about it and talking about how quote unquote stupid, which I will say, humans are just stupid all the time, especially kids. Like, it's just, they're just stupid, but they're smart in other ways that haven't come to light just yet. You know what I mean? But it's generally the ones that are the loudest about it. I'm like, that's my first retort is like, well, what have you been reading?
Now, counter on that in the same vein, just to play devil's advocate, I've had people that are part of that bracket that say that I talk too formally. and I don't talk formally at all. So do with that as you will.
So
like, do with that as you will. So like, there might be some like,
well, there's
back
so
and
many
forth.
people
It's just like,
nowadays that if you get a room of 300 people, fucking 150 of them are gonna be the dumbest motherfuckers you've ever fucking seen.
That's true.
Like, just in different fucking
I'm part
ways.
of it. Huh.
My thing is I and I think it's an ADHD deal, but I have social chameleoning, where like I will start to speak,
yeah,
like who I'm around. And I remember this one girl who I was at the bar, I bought her a drink, and I was just talking to her, and she just interrupts me, and she goes, "Can you stop the ghetto speak?" And I went, "What?" And she was like, "The ghetto speak. Can you just talk like a normal person?" And I went, "Bitch, please." And I took her drink. I was like, "You are not pretty enough to say shit like that." And no, I will not. Like, however it is that I'm talking is ghetto speak, apparently. But it is. It's
D is for dyslexia. Also social chameleon.
Oh man, I need to get better glasses so I can see that without leaning away from the microphone. But big shout out to crew members Gordon Ramsay and Wednesday Adams, the famous ones. Thank y'all for tuning in to our live recording. We're probably going to keep doing this just because it's interesting and fun. However, if there's any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, please throw them our way. And you listening in the future, please do so as well. Drop us a comment. Send us a message, send us some hate mail, give us some, thumbs down, thumbs up. Who cares? Just engagement, baby. Give us that engagement. Make the algorithm happy. Yum, 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 yum. Engagement. Yum, yum. But this has been a really fun episode, like they always are whenever I get to sit down and talk with you, Kevinagan. And like we were saying at the beginning of the show, this guy, if you haven't gone to his channel, go to his channel right now, watch some of that gaming content. It's a little dated, but it's really, really good, and I'm in it, and I'm amazing. And
very dated.
But he's recently he wasn't able to do it for a while because of hardware limitations. Ooh, that moonshine, man, goddamn. All right, there we go. I think it's over. I think the
come on, you're Southern. You're supposed to be able to, like,
Yeah, but I'm also pushing 40 now. Like the intestines try to get rid of it. But so he's upgraded his hardware since, and he with the intention of getting some more gaming videos up there. And I tell you, his style is super unique. I get a kick out of it, and not just because I love watching myself, but I do, and so will you. But he's got such a really interesting way of approaching humor that I find very unique and super refreshing and hilarious. And the best part is he's not institutionally educated, so it's all just like inspiration, which I find leads to the most purest kinds of comedy. So if you enjoy gaming videos, you enjoy laughing, and you enjoy us, go check out Kevinagan's content. And you can check out some of mine. I don't have much gaming content yet because my fucking rig is stupid, and all I do is role play on World of Warcraft. But yes, Ranamore, who I'm trying to get on the show. I think we will be hearing from him soon.
These days.
I do have some stuff from our previous podcast that never saw light of day, that didn't go anywhere. He did say that we can utilize those recordings for Lost the Plot. So I think I might revisit some of that and bring it up because I don't think that podcast idea that we were working on is going to go anywhere. I mean, it has been like 4 years.
Yeah, probably so.
But we have a lot of fun with this because when we first did it in the first episode, we didn't quite know what to call it. And then by the end of our 2-hour rambling session, we realized that we had just lost the plot completely. And it was like, oh, there it is. And look at this. We did it again.
We do it. We derail all the time.
Oh, derailed. D's nuts derailed all over the fucking place. Because we started by discussing, we were discussing the new project. And then we led to that by talking about characters and role play mechanics and devices that can be utilized even by neophytes to have a more engaging and enjoyable experience when role playing with other people, even if you're brand new or totally like unsure of yourself or have no writing experience or acting experience. There are things you can utilize to make it easy and fun and engaging, not just for you, but all the people around you. And then that led us to bitching.
Bitching about like Mary Sue's and then Twilight and then Harry Potter. And
And
then...
you told us the full plot of the Midnight Mass, which was fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's always fun, but you did give them a spoiler warning. Now
I
it's
didn't
too
spoil it.
late.
It's too late now.
We've already told you. So, like, if you're sitting there and
I
you're
said
like,
I
wait,
gave you like 5 seconds and then that was it.
yeah, you had your chance. This is on you. This is on you. This isn't my fault. This is your fault.
Still recommend it though.
But no, it sounded fun. I might give it a watch, probably not, but I'll give it a watch. No, it's I do. But I pirate everything. My thing is I keep forgetting. Like I still haven't even sat down and watched that goddamn show K-pop Demon Hunters, and apparently it's really good, right? And I keep meaning to like put some time aside to sit down and watch it because I've learned that things that I'm like, okay, that's gonna suck. I'm not gonna watch this. Everyone loves it. It sucks. You know, like, and then whenever I do finally get around to sit and watch, I'm like, oh, this is why everyone loves it. Okay,
instant contrarianism.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I've got to be cool and different and
I'm part of the crowd.
distinguished.
What?
I'm not a sheep. I don't get told by, even though I'm listening to the talking head, I don't get told
I'm not
by
a
the talking
sheep.
head. Right? I am so individual. I am going to be an individual with this whole demographic, not engaging with anyone else like individuals, but we're all doing the same thing. But
So I'm explaining my detail in a big old thesis right on Twitter.
on Reddit, where my power as a mod is unquestioned, and the highlight of my life is now.
Banned?
I am a Reddit mod. Oh God, to be a Reddit mod, I would kill myself.
Not that big yet.
Lost the Plot podcast will never have a subreddit, and if we ever do, I'm never modding it. And if you mod it, I'm going to remind you daily how sad of a thing that is.
I feel like if it ever did get big enough, someone's going to try to make a subreddit of it, and we should just ban it.
If it
every
got
single time.
big like that, we're quitting.
Ban it.
We're
Ban it.
stopping. We're just never doing it again. We're like, okay, we just found out that we got a subreddit. So if you hate Lost the Plot podcast,
Make a subreddit.
Make a subreddit. We promise we'll stop.
It's our announcement.
You really want to stick it to us? You know what we hate?
We also hate money.
Money. We hate money. Please don't ever hurt us and hurt our feelings by making us feel insignificant with your insults of money. Nothing quite cuts as deep as free money. Good Lord.
I'd really hate to have a couple mil, that's for sure.
I would, but you know what we do have? We got 10 more minutes to round this to a even 2 hours. You know what I mean? And my, I would say my ADHD, my OCD, I don't really have OCD, but like everyone else, I blame it on the invisible OCD boogeyman. But like I require to have the 2 hours. So in this last 10 minutes, we got any parting rants or words of rants? I was gonna say words of wisdom.
Words of rants?
Just more rants.
I don't
You
know.
got anything to rant about? How about you know what? It pisses me off. I can't see my forehead.
Well, I have a perpetual, like, just angry bitch face the entire time, so, you know, that always makes people mad.
You do look like you're angry, not like actively mad. Just no, you look like a disappointed parent. Like, you look like the embodiment of I'm not mad, just disappointed.
Like, really?
That's what you look like.
It's sad because when I'm actually thinking, the brow goes even deeper, and it's like,
That's the GIF. That's
Yeah.
the appropriate GIF. It's not a GIF.
I love
It's
that
a
GIF.
Shut up. There's no E.
I'm gonna go eat me some Jeffy later. You know,
Jiffy Lube?
some Geffy loof.
Oh my God. That made me, when you said lube, that made me think of lubricant, made me think of Vaseline, made me think of this medical YouTuber story. This guy talks about medical things, and this woman used to she got like poisoned
train tracks
because
we went
one thing she would eat every day, all day, she would get pieces of bread and put a spread on it. The spread was not butter. The spread was not cream
I just
cheese.
needed some Vaseline.
It
for
was
my-
Vaseline. She would spread Vaseline on bread and eat it.
So you're saying that this was some Vaseline for this grandma?
I hate that I let you do that. We're never doing another podcast, you guys. Welcome to the last episode of Lost the Plot podcast. And burning it all down like Rick in that episode with the devil. Is like, well, I just got bored. And he
Like,
pulls
you just
up the
don't
gas
understand.
can.
I just need some Vaseline for my grandma.
Oh my God, I hate that I fucking opened it up. For the context, we're talking. It's YouTube poops for The Dark Knight. The scene where the Joker comes in and threatens all the gangsters, and he's like, Gamble here won't be able to afford a nickel for his grandma. People have done masterful comedic re-edits and reimaginings of that little scene, and
gamble here.
Kevinagan loves to quote
He
it
won't
to
even
me
afford a Nickelback CD for his grandma.
on a daily basis, an hourly basis, an almost minute by minute basis. I'm getting quoted these fucking YouTube poop lines that get embedded in my own subconscious. So then I quote them, and people are like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, I can't give you the context. It's too long. And
All
it's
you
not
have to
worth it.
do is just keep repeating it, and then people will start saying it.
It's
over
true,
and
because
over.
I hear that line now is he won't be able to afford a Nickelback CD for his grandma. That's what I hear now when I think about that fucking scene. Let's not blow this out of proportion. We had that one idea though for that one YouTube poop where we go in and we put in grandma, like just change all the
How about
subjects.
a magic trick? Oh, it's
How about a
grandma.
magic grandma? Ta-da! It's grandma. It's like, da-da-da-da-da. Let's not blow this grandma. Like, you know what I mean? Just
You
fucking-
remind me of my grandma. I hated my grandma.
You want to know how I got this grandma? Just fucking God. Very poor choice of grandma. Like, just fucking just throw it in there. The whole movie, re-edit, the director's cut, the grandma's cut.
You know what gasoline and grandma have in common? They're both cheap.
Oh, cheap. They're cheap. Ta-da! It's grandma. Fucking, I'm gonna make this grandma
Disappear.
Jesus Christ. God, I can't think of any more quotes to put grandma in there, but we should. Someone should do it. If you're listening, do it for me and attribute it to me and give me your money that you make on it. Give me a percentage. We'll work it out. You know, you send me a ticket, send me an
Give you a
e-ticket.
nickel.
Nickelback for his. Oh no, that was a good one. Oh, that was a good one. The fucking classic Vine Wednesday Adams just posted in the chat
Look at this
where just look at the
graph.
photograph, but look at this graph, and then he just smiles at the camera, like just fucking so proud of it. Oh, it's
My
like God.
favorite one, it's Imagine Dragons Radioactive.
Oh,
But
yeah.
right when he goes to like, I'm breathing in the chemicals, he breathes it in, then he just dies.
It just dies.
But the rest of the song keeps playing. He just dies.
So if you're listening, go look up Vine compilations. It'll make your day better. Vine, rest in peace. That
Breathing
was
in the chemicals.
fucking peak internet. Absolute
Dead.
peak internet. I love the fucking like record of like kids particularly being like fucking insane. I can't think of anything specific, so now I just sound like a creep. Saying like, I love the one with kids. You know, like I wouldn't be going, I love children, screaming that out in this neighborhood. All right, just calm down. You're not fucking Edward Twilight.
You're also
whatever
not.
his name
You're also
was.
not Cool Cat.
Cool Cat. Fuck. Next podcast, we're talking about Cool Cat.
We do. Okay, writing that down.
Writing
Cool
that
Cat
down.
next podcast.
We're talking about Cool Cat. We do not have time to get into it right now.
You don't know what Cool Cat is.
Oh
You
my
should,
God.
and it is amazing.
That just
Just
if I
remember,
had to
Cool
put
Cat
it-
loves you.
If I had to put it in a sentence, it is the ride along to a middle-aged stripper's mental meltdown.
Because he is.
He is.
That's the director. That's good old Daddy Derek Savage.
Oh my God. And he's like, and you watch him turn into a straight up furry and a deviant and it's so much, you guys. But yeah, we'll talk about that next time. We're coming up on that 2-hour mark. You have been listening to Lost the Plot podcast. And if you're lost, you're doing it right. Have we confused you yet? Well,
I'm
good.
confused.
All right. Me too. I
And
don't
you
even know
should
where
too.
I am. Who are you?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm confused. No, I'm Jack Kerrigan.
I'm Kevinagan.
And we are here again and again and again until we're not. But until then, I hope that you have a great day. Make sure that you don't lose the plot. But if you got to do it, then you got to do it. Oh, I thought that said 2 hours. We still got 5 minutes. I was like,
5 minutes. Well,
we
we've already
gotta
done
get to
the
the 2 hour thing.
We've already
though.
done the
We
outro.
got to get to the 2
All
hour
right,
thing. All right.
fine.
So how about you tell them a joke? You do it.
I don't know.
Because you have all the jokes.
I don't have
and it
the
can't be a
you-
quote from a YouTube
You
poop.
can't. You can't put me on the
I
spot.
got a good joke. I got a really good joke. So a guy makes a podcast.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I know. That's what we're doing with the joke. Get it?
Don't ruin the premise.
Hey, idiot! Make us laugh. We're just like two quintessential white guys. We have a podcast, and our major brand of humor is quoting creations of others.
I mean, that's basically what everyone else does.
That's
They
what it
just
was
don't-
at high school. Like especially with me and Randamore, our whole language was
This
just
is what
movie
this is
quotes.
millennial coded. Apparently, this is what we do.
Oh my God! Like it's like if God help you if the thing keeping your friend group together is just quoting Jim Carrey movies.
Hey, we haven't like devolved in the point to where we're doing Jim Carrey impressions, because apparently that's a thing, and that is just
Oh, here's what, that guy we were making the mean memes about and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The fucking Daddy Hungy and all that shit. What if I told you I have?
Oh, he has one.
What? No. That was the
okay.
no, he used to write when me and Ranamore would make movies and stuff. He used to write, and I didn't have cable, so I didn't realize he was directly plagiarizing.
Oh, just taken from everything else.
Family Guy, Futurama, and South Park, word for word, jokes that had no contextual bearing on
thought
the
he was
thing.
the smartest dude ever.
And he did. He thought he was so funny, and I thought it was funny too because I hadn't seen these fucking shows. And they were well written, So I'm like, man, you're a good writer.
Wow.
And then imagine my surprise. I'm getting into fucking college. I'm watching this stuff, and I hear word for word shit that we did in a script.
Oh, you just stole it.
And
from
I'm like,
everything else.
God fucking damn it. So I got a whole bunch of his Facebook pages and pictures and made a bunch of mean memes. We put one of
Daddy
them.
Hungy.
Yeah, we put one of them in the Discord server, but there's like 40 of them now, and we're just waiting. They're like ammunition. It's fun, though.
It's the other one. What if I told you I am?
What if I told you I have?
I have.
It's just so gross. Actually, we tried to turn him. We haven't released him. We're probably not gonna because it is like super mean spirited. But we were almost gonna make him Charmander guy.
Oh, the Charmander. Yeah.
Charmander. We
Not
spelled
Charmander.
it, no,
Charmander.
and it was a typo at first, and it became a thing because I was typing out Charmander, and I instead of putting an R, I put a U, and then. I think Randomore read it out loud and he went Charmander, and I was like, oh my god, it's the voice. And so then we made this whole series of like, there's no law that says I can't fuck this Charmander.
And then immediately the next one, officer says I can't have sex with the Charmander.
No, son, that's my personal Charmander. Like, it's just fucking because he had this little Charmander in these pictures. Oh no. Okay, that's where we're gonna leave Lost the Plot podcast.
The Charmander.
Thanks, Gordon Ramsay. Thanks, Wednesday Adams. Thanks, the crew. Thanks, all of y'all on YouTube listening in and all of y'all out on my RSS feed tuning in there. Please give us your money. Give us your engagement, but we'll try to be funny. We'll see y'all next time. Thanks again for tuning in, and y'all stay classy.
Take care, people. Remember, Charmander.
Charmander loves me, not you. And we stopped the recording there. Thanks, guys, for fucking hanging out. We're going to bounce out so we can turn the air conditioner back on and get some of that moonshine. But, hey, let's hang out. I'm around. Hit me up. Let's fucking hang, all right?
Hit him.
But thanks again, guys. We really appreciate y'all. And y'all take it easy, okay?
Take care, folks.
Y'all are the best.
Bye. Jesus, that was gross.